Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to our study of Proverbs, where we're looking at different subjects that show up. But at the same time, we always have to remember it's not a perfect science. We are taking different sayings that seem to have the same language, but sometimes they don't really say the same thing. At the moments, they seem to be saying the same thing, even though the language is different. And we're trying to put it all together to see if it could fit into one subject. And that's, like I said, not a perfect science. We do the best we can. Now, last time around, we looked at instruction and counsel. Well, I thought what better way to go after this is the path we take, the way we go. Again, look at it, certain of them that he speaks of the way. And what I found interesting is most of the time, Proverbs talks about going the wrong way, either being self-deceived or deceived by other. But there is a hope somewhere at the end, a light at the end of the tunnel. And we'll see that together. And we start with one that you probably already know. One that says, there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. The word seems is not in the original, yet it's still the idea, right? Because it talks about being right to a man, a woman, a person. You think it's right. And the word speaks of righteous and even being morally right. You think it's the right way to God, like most, if not all, I should say, religions in this world. They think these rules, this religious behavior will make us approved by God, yet its ultimate end is death, condemnation, rejection from God. Now, because it's speaking of moral rightness and to a Jewish audience, I think even as believers, we have to feel ourselves a bit tugged at the heart. Because we can really think that we have the right way. We've read the Bible. We've grown up in a Christian church. I got the right way, but ultimately, no, it's not. So yeah, it speaks of death, but it is poetic, so it could refer to just a sense of it's just the wrong way. It'll lead you down the wrong path, not necessarily spiritual or physical death, just it'll be wrong. And Romans 14 speaks of that when you talk about convictions that you want to live by and impose on others, and you could be dead wrong about that. So there is that danger. Well, the next proverb kind of helps us out a bit. It says this: the one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examines him. Now, yes, this is in a legal setting, courtroom, where the person states his case, right? He presents his evidence and he gives his speech, and it seems right. It seems like it's it's okay. Until somebody else shows up, cross-examines, shows new evidence, and we realize, wait, he was wrong. Like I said, this courtroom, but if I take it back to the verse we just looked at, where the person thinks he's on the right path and ends up in death, it's that outside source, that second person that can help us out. And I say this because we've seen this so far. It's a testimony in Proverbs, that outside help, that counselor, that person that helps you to see stuff you can't recognize even in the depth of your own heart, the intentions. So there's a sense of this outside interference can help you recognize maybe you are not as right as you think you are. And that could save you a path of death. So it's a good thing. But like I said, we can lead ourselves astray without that help. Like the next proverb says, desire without knowledge is not good. And whoever makes haste with his feet misses his way. Now, the ESV that I'm using puts the word desire here, nefesh. It speaks of the soul, the inner person, the inner desire. So it's okay. Just, I believe here, there's a better way to translate it. And we can see this in the King James Version. Taking the word nefesh, soul, and puts it like this. Also, that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good. And he that hastens with his feet sinneth. So again, we have this quickening way of trying to get to somewhere, right? The path you think it's right, and you end up being very wrong. That's why I said that the path being death isn't just literal. It could also be being one of sinfulness, of wrongness. But this is because you don't have this knowledge, right? You think it's good, but it's not. You think it's right until somebody corrects you. And like we saw last time, are we people who will receive that correction, that instruction, that outside knowledge? That will keep us from going the wrong path. Now, you probably read it, right? Also. And it is in the original. There is a notion that he's connected to what just was said before. Verse 1, which we already saw some time ago. Better is a poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is crooked in speech and is a fool. Again, we really make the connection with what we just read. The person who thinks he's right goes headfirst into it and sins instead. Well, same thing here, right? This person who thinks he's right, but his path is crooked. His way of life is of a fool, one who rejects God, compared to the walk of integrity. The one who is guided by knowledge, God's wisdom, which is good. Also, the one who's just going half-cocked, like this person, running into what he thinks is right, can end up in sin. It's all about this knowledge, this correction, this instruction that keeps us from going to that path of death, that path of sin. So that's the first way we could go astray. There's a more nefarious way, like the next two verses, Proverbs say. A man of violence entices his neighbor and leads him in the way that is not good. Whoever winks his eyes plans dishonest things. He who purses his lips brings evil to pass. I really believe verse 30 helps us to have a better understanding of what this man of violence looks like. This notion of winking with his eyes or closing his eyes and pursing his lips really shows that he's trying to hide his evil intentions. He's trying to cover up his dishonest thing that he wants to do, the evil he wants to bring to pass. He's deceptive. He's manipulative, but he is a man of violence. His purpose is to entice and lead. Two verbs, two actions to really pull you in the way that is not good. We just saw the danger in that. The way that's not good is sin, it's death. And we have to contend with our own wicked heart. Now we have people who want to do the same thing to us, who wants to be the one leading us astray. Want to entice us. We have to be watchful and vigilant of them. It won't be as evident. It's not going to be a devil with a pitchfork and big horns. It's going to be far more seductive, like Lady of Folly is. So there has to be this carefulness of ourselves, carefulness of those around us. As we saw before, not all counsel is good counsel. You need discernment. Now, it's not all about this kind of leading astray. There is one avenue of hope, like I said before. One light at the end of the tunnel. It's this one. It says, rescue those who are being taken away to death. Hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. Two things to notice. One, this is parallelism, repetition. Same idea said two different ways. And of course, you've probably noticed it's again in a context of a courtroom, of a legal setting, where somebody's been being brought to death or slaughter, and it's probably an unjust reason. And you should rescue. You shouldn't keep your heads in the sand but get involved. Keep it from happening. This is unjust. This is wrong. But this is where, again, I take it in a more general sense, like the first one. The first time when we saw it in a courtroom setting, and I bring it to our lives, our situation here of people who are being led astray. Get involved. We saw that it is those of wisdom, those who dare to correct a person, that can keep them from going to the path of death, the path of sin. Sometimes we need to be that person. And I'll say this, of course, built off what James tells us. My brothers, sisters, if anyone among you wanders from the truth, right, another way, and someone brings him back, let him know that whoever brings back a sinner from his wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins. The death part is probably for the sinner. So is the multitude of sins. Like we just saw with the Proverbs. That's where the wrong path that you think is right, you think it's approved by God, the wrong path, leading you to sin, that's when you get involved. James says it needs to be that. There needs to be that involvement to help people, especially when you're seeing that they're going astray. They're going down the wrong path. We are our brother's, our sister's keeper. Compared to Cain, of course. There needs to be that need to rescue those who are going down the wrong way. As much as we need to be vigilant that ourselves, we don't go the wrong way. So, very simple teaching, but I think it should speak volumes to us. To be vigilant for ourselves and for those around us. That path to sin, that path to death is quite serious. So let us be vigilant, brothers and sisters. Be blessed.